Hey there YouTube, WhiskeyCactus here, welcoming you back to our Heart of the Woods Let's Play. This is episode number 2, and last time we got started with the story, and we are Maddie, this very well-designed character right here. And she has taken a trip with her talent? She's the manager of this other character, Tara, who seems to be a YouTuber, or some such, and does paranormal investigations. And we have gone out to a mysterious cabin out in the middle of friggin' nowhere in the woods to investigate some supernatural shenanigans. So we are going to jump right back in. And here we are. It is the next day. We've arrived and we have now woken up. And it's 8 hours and 34 minutes later. I know, because telling time is my phone's only remaining function. Yet I still check it constantly, like something might change. True to her word, let's hide this mouse a bit. There we go. True to her word, Morgan was there to pick us up right at 8. It's a minor miracle that Tara and I were both ready to go. I don't know who had it worse, me waking up to my alarm or Tara waking up to me banging on her door. Even now, she slowly eats a piece of bread from the kitchen, looking for all the world like a cow chewing cud. With each bump that the carriage hits, my tiny cup of coffee threatens to spill onto my hand. Not sure that I'd feel it. After answering Morgan's perfunctory questions about our first night, we spent the rest of the ride in silence. She didn't acknowledge at all how she had knocked on my window. Apparently, it wasn't remarkable enough to her to deserve another mention. Maybe she didn't. Maybe it was a ghost. I watched from over her shoulder, now as we approach the town. From the train last night, the scattered lights made Eisenfeld appear to be a lot larger than it really is. Now in the daylight, I have to strain my eyes to pick out some of the buildings against the hills and snow. Tara's missing it all, staring at her feet. Crumbs litter the floor beneath her. Morgan guides along a path that I'm pretty sure is the same one as last night. A few villagers move out of the way of our carriage, not even turning to look. Must be a regular occurrence. Even though it's hard for anyone to see us in here, I still feel self-conscious. I clutch the bag of camera gear tighter to my chest, hiding myself behind it. There aren't any other carriages on the road, nor anything bigger than a pushcart, so we still stand out, at least in my head. If the situation is at all awkward or out of the ordinary to Morgan, she doesn't show it. She pulls the reins, and the carriage comes to a stop in the road. There aren't as many other people up here, but what few there are give us a wide berth. And here we are. Tara finally perks up, the words carefully spoken, clearly spoken for her benefit. It takes her a moment to realize that we've made an entrance, but as soon as she does, she's in showbiz mode. She leaps to her feet, throwing off the exhaustion like a disguise. Here we are indeed. She vaults out of the carriage, spinning circles like we're in the middle of a grand plaza instead of the middle of the street. I climb out more carefully, then scurry out of the way. Okay, this rules. It really does feel like we've traveled back in time. The buildings, all built from wood and stone, look like they've been there for centuries. The road that we're on and currently blocking is made of cobblestone. It winds its way through the town, despite being covered in well-tamped snow. We're certainly a long way from home. Morgan doesn't disembark from the carriage, and instead calls down to us. Excuse me. The town square is right down this road, but if I take you there, I won't be able to turn the carriage around. It's always a pain when that happens. I'm going to open up my shop, but feel free to come by whenever you'd like. I'm sorry I can't show you around right now, but I'll make it up to you later. Where's your shop? Oh, right. She pulls a piece of paper from somewhere and dangles it toward me. I cross the road and take it from her. Unfolding it, I can see that it's a map. Despite being hand-drawn, it's pretty coherent and legible. Certain buildings, like Morgan's shop and the local pub, are denoted by handwritten tags. At the middle of the road where we're currently standing, she's even drawn a helpful "You Are Here" notice with a smiley face. She clearly planned this well in advance. Cool, thanks. Feel free to stop by around lunch. I'll make you both something. Hell yeah, you're the best, Morgan. Thanks. Morgan gives us a brief wave before heading off to wherever it is you park horse-drawn carriages. I point in the direction of the town square that Morgan mentioned, wanting to get away from all the people who are currently gawking at us. We definitely stick out, if only because of our colorful hair and clothes. Combined, their outfits have the color palette of a bowl of oatmeal. Although they stare, nobody really says anything, either too polite or too intimidated. Both Tara and I avoid eye contact with strangers as we hurry to the empty town square. Well, that couldn't have gone worse. There are a million ways that could have gone worse. If people looking at us funny is the only downside of this trip, then it'll be our best episode yet. I mean, ever. I wish she'd stop bringing that up. It always kills the mood, which was barely on life support to begin with. Tara rubs her shoulders, having stubbornly chosen not to dress any warmer today. Okay, ready to get your Tara normal on, Mads? I shrug my camera bag onto my shoulder and nod. I suppose there's no harm in spending a little time establishing the location. Might as well get some B-roll while we're here. One thing that both Tara and I have in common is that we're not really sightseers. I spend as much time in my room as I can, whether that's the hotel room while we're filming or my bedroom at home. So as much Tara loves investigations and all the dramatic stuff, she'd probably totally skip the exposition segments if she didn't leave them to me. That means that we're pretty efficient at filming them. I turn on the camera and slowly turn a circle, capturing the ground, sky, and some nearby buildings for footage that we can splice together later. I do a slow pan across some of the houses, then frame and hold a shot of the path further into the village. A young couple passes by holding hands, and they share a suspicious look at the camera as they go by. Guess I'm editing that part out later. Most of the time, making Tara-normal videos is just me finding ways to stretch 10 seconds of interesting footage into a 10-minute video. That's something else that we're both good at. The cold wind makes it hard to keep a steady grip, so I stow the camera and shove my hands into my pockets. Get anything cool? Unable to browse on her phone like she usually does while waiting, instead, Tara watches from over my shoulder as I record. Not really. There's not much to see here. Yeah, it's kind of less impressive up close. It's the kind of place that you'd expect a tumbleweed to blow through, like if the climate fit. Wow, you're turning into quite the poet. Oh, shut up. What? It was a compliment. Anyway, since filming the village is a dud right now, we should follow up one of the rumors Morgan was talking about the other night. I'm thinking giant tree spirit. That's the most interesting one she talked about for sure. That's the headliner. We need to build up to that one. Oh yeah, definitely. Picture this. We head to the woods to get some creepy shots. Do it right around sundown. Make it super ambient. Lots of atmosphere. Wind sounds. Maybe a wolf howl. Ooh, it's getting creepy. It's getting creepy. You've got a good wolf sound effect we could use, right? Yeah, of course. Anyway, I do a narration over all that, introducing where we are and what we're out here looking for. Then we get a sound of a big branch snapping. And just cut the video right there. Tara looks pleased with herself and glances back at me for approval. Takes me a minute to react. So, end the video on a cliffhanger? Yeah, I think so. We can definitely stretch the Eisenfeld stuff into a mini-series or something. We should be able to get at least 3 episodes worth of stuff out here. That sounds fine. A snapping branch is a pretty weak way to end it, though, especially since, like, we uploaded the video. Nobody's gonna wonder if we're okay or not. Oh, yeah, that's true. So you think maybe we should just make one long vid, or end it differently? Maybe a different ending. I'll think of something later. Cool, you're the best, Mads. Oh, I love them. I love them so much. I smile, but it hurts a little. I'm sure she's not trying to make me feel bad. She probably doesn't even know that I do. Doesn't even know that I do. I just shrug, wanting to change the subject. We can also follow up on some of the smaller rumors. Like in her email, she mentioned mysterious lights out in the forest. Like a will-o-wisp? Aren't those actually real? You're the expert, you should know that, not me. Tara stares at me expectantly. Yes, they're real, but it's just swamp gas. Doesn't matter though, because we need to wait for nighttime for that stuff. It's not very spooky during the daytime. In that case, we definitely want to talk to the locals, see what kind of rumors they've heard of, that kind of thing. Right, that's definitely the smart thing to do. We both face back toward the street we came down, where Morgan dropped us off with all those nosy people, who just stared at us but wouldn't talk. Awkwardly. Or we could go get some more establishing shots from the other parts of the village. I like that idea. We pick a direction at random and start walking. Oh, look at that. As we head further into town, it starts to get more lively, and there are more people around. That might just be the time of day, though. A couple folks shovel snow in front of their homes. A group of kids run up and down the street accompanied by a sagging basset hound. A woman wearing what appears to be an entire bear for a coat shuffles past us. Wherever we go, the villagers watch us unabashedly. No one makes any attempt to talk to us, and conversations fall silent whenever we come near. I wonder if there was some sort of order given to not speak with us, or if it just happens naturally. Try to force myself to ignore it. We're not doing anything wrong, we're just a curiosity. The only interesting thing about us is our out-of-townness. Morgan said that there are rarely ever visitors out here. It's not hard to imagine why. There doesn't seem to be much worth visiting. Still, if they're going to keep this up, it's going to make those interviews even harder to do. Tara taps me on the shoulder, nodding in the direction of some of our observers. Is it just me, or is there kind of a creepy serial killer vibe going on here? Considering what happened last night, I would imagine there is definitely a serial killer vibe. Oh my god, can you not? Hey, I'm just kidding. Just trying to lighten the mood a bit. My reaction having ruined any chance at that, neither of us speak again. I unpack the camera again and film a few of the storefronts as we go. As long as I'm surreptitious enough, most people don't notice and thus don't change their behavior. Inevitably, whenever somebody does see me filming, they tense up and just stare, ruining the take. It's like they've never seen a camera before. Maybe that's not far from the truth. One thing I have to give to Eisenfeld's credit is that there's more personality in its construction than I thought at first. Most of the buildings seem to be people's homes, but it doesn't take us long to find a few stores here and there. Their names are simple and plain, like you'd read in a tabletop RPG book. Tinkle and Sons Tailoring. Tinkle and Sons. Heinkel and Sons Tailoring, a butcher shop named the Hearty Sow, that sort of thing. When we pass by a tavern called the Bushy Beard, I can hear Tara snickering behind me. Do you think they have barmaids? What? Like the sexy Oktoberfest kind. Do you think they have those here? Tara's words are so out of nowhere that it takes me a second to mentally process. This isn't a Renaissance fair, Tara. I'm pretty sure they just wear normal clothes to work. Tara's mouth gapes wide open. Wait, what? Back up. Ren fairs have sexy barmaids? Have you never been to one? Where else do you think they came from? I have no idea. I always thought those things were just full of boring stuff. What? Not at all. They have swordplay demonstrations, or time period appropriate foods. Sometimes local experts will give talks or lectures on certain topics, and... like I said, boring stuff. Whatever. There's more to it than just cosplay. I bet you'd actually like it if you went with me next time. Plus, I thought you loved history now. Not the boring kind of history, duh. How are swords boring? Whatever, Mads. She walks away. How did I manage to lose an argument she started? We cut a slow but steady course through the village. Despite how random the layout seems, it's impossible to get lost. All the roads seem to lead back into each other. I'm so used to the sounds of busy intersections and highways that the near silence here is almost unnerving. I can appreciate the serenity and calm of it all, but I think I'd go crazy if I had to live here. We're not even a full day in, and I can't help but miss my cozy apartment and the convenience of city life. Eventually, we take a path that brings us back to a familiar site, the town square that we visited right after Morgan dropped us off. According to my phone, it's been a little over an hour since then. Still too early to meet up with Morgan for lunch. Guess we can't keep putting this off for any longer. I think I have enough of the town now. Do you want to start interrogating the villagers? Interviewing. Didn't even notice myself misspeaking. I must still have interrogations on the mind, after meeting the mayor last night. Tara poses dramatically, hyping herself up for the camera. I'm not even recording yet. Time to put my game face on. As long as it's a game face that people want to talk to. Mads, when have I ever been anything but charming? She sighs. Yeah, I know. I'll keep it chill for these, so we don't freak anyone out. But, like, how do we do this? Just go up to people and ask if we can chat? I guess. I don't have any better ideas. This is how we usually do it, except usually people are more curious about who we are and what we're doing. Sometimes after introducing ourselves, there are even people who have heard of us. That is definitely not the case out here. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if Morgan was the only person in this whole village that uses YouTube. Hey, name dropping. It actually is YouTube. The only thing more awkward than just asking random people for an interview is them staring silently while you approach. But we don't have any other options. I hand the mic to Tara. At least I'm not the one who has to do the talking. Tara stands there with the mic in hand. And stands there. You good? Yeah, I am. Just give me a sec, okay? Okay. She psychs herself up by stretching and taking a few deep breaths. The whole time, she holds the mic pinched between two fingers like it's something she just peeled off her shoe. Once she's finally ready, she gives me a thumbs up and starts to walk again. I trail a couple meters behind, keeping her back framed in the middle of the shot. She moves with a determined stride, but I can see the microphone shaking in her hand. We pass by a few people walking around. She doesn't stop any of them, nor does she ask any of the folks outside the buildings, chatting or working, or just sitting and looking bored. Just up ahead, a middle-aged woman smokes a cigarette, looking at nothing and no one in particular. It doesn't look like she's going anywhere, and she's not already in the middle of a conversation. She's the perfect candidate, and Tara must know it too. I wait for her to go up and introduce herself. I stand still and hit the record button, filming her approach. Except she doesn't. She walks right past the lady, whose gaze follows as she goes. I pause the recording and hurry to catch up, hissing Tara's name. I have to say it twice before she hears me and stops. What's up? What are you waiting for? We've passed like a dozen people now. Right, but none of them are the right one. Which one's the right one? You know, it's impossible to tell. I'll know when I see them. I roll my eyes, but I don't chastise her. She's trying her best. Oh, okay. Here we go. Get ready. I follow her line of sight to figure out her prey. An older man resting on a bench nearby. Broad-shouldered, with a long beard, he looks like a stereotype of a lumberjack. Like the previous woman, he stares vapidly off into the... oh my god. He stares vapidly off in the distance, thoughts clearly elsewhere. Once again, I plant my feet. Toggle the camera with backspace? Oh. Okay. Once again, I plant my feet and set up the shot. I make micro adjustments to the focus until I get it just right. The rest is up to Tara. Slowly, Tara approaches the man. Either he doesn't see her coming or he ignores her. She glances at me for reassurance, which I give in the form of a smile and a nudging motion, telling her to get on with it. She clears her throat, grabbing the man's attention. He turns to her slowly and eyes her suspiciously. Then he notices me and the camera, and he tenses up. Not off to a good start. Tara talks quickly, trying to explain the situation. Hi there, my name's Tara Brick. My friend Maddie and I are visiting from out of town, doing a report on Eisenfeld. I was wondering if we could ask you a few questions. Report? What kind of report? He relaxes just a little bit. The man rubs his eyes warily, peering back and forth between me and Tara. I wish he'd stop looking directly into the camera. I slowly start to move laterally, trying to frame the two of them better, but he keeps shifting on the bench to watch me. It's an investigation on the supernatural. Rumors, ghost stories, that sort of thing. We've heard a lot of legends about Eisenfeld, and we're looking into them, trying to figure out what's true and what isn't. Figure out the truth, huh? I'll tell you the truth. Here comes some conspiracy theories, right? The man mutters darkly, his beetle-browed eyes still flipping between me and Tara. He chews his lip while he thinks about it. Something about his face strikes me as odd, but I can't figure out what it is. It's probably just a trick of the camera or the light. Well, alright, I suppose I've got the time. It takes Tara a beat to respond. We were both sure that he was going to tell us to bug off or worse. Great, thank you! So, can you tell me about Eisenfeld? Just what is life like here on an average day, that sort of thing. Clearly she didn't expect to get this far, and asks the first thing that comes to her mind. She offers the man the mic, but he just stares uncomfortably until she retracts it. Right, well, it's a good little town, good and proper, quiet, real quiet. That's what I like about it. None of that city business, no noise, no bustle. Out here is just you and nature. That suits me just fine, it does. So you're from around here then, spent your life in Eisenfeld? Born and raised, and God willing I'll die out here too. Never thought about leaving. Never had a reason to. Great, great. So then I'd imagine you know all about any local legends, right? About as well as anyone. Any old village got stories. If you believe them all, there's goblins in the woods, trolls in the mountains, who knows what else elsewhere. Of course, some children will believe in those. So you've never seen anything weird yourself? Nothing unexplainable? Weird like what? By now, the man has abandoned looking at Tara entirely and instead focuses on the camera, his eyes looking strangely focused. One of our friends here mentioned something about a big forest spirit, like a walking tree kind of thing. He sits up from his slouch, finally turning to face Tara. What friend of yours might that be? She's, from around here, one of the locals. Even though we gave her a shout-out in one of our videos, Tara's reluctant to name Morgan as our contact. Makes sense. Her neighbors surely feel different about us than our viewers do. Yeah, I'll bet it was the Fisher girl, wasn't it? You know what's best for you, you'll steer clear of her. Nothing but trouble comes from that one. Nothing at all. Tara and I exchange a glance. Oh boy. Seems her thoughtfulness was irrelevant. At the same time, I'm suddenly a lot more interested in what this guy has to say. Why do you say that? Feels like a strange violation of privacy to be asking this stranger his opinion of our host, but if she's notorious enough that anyone on the street knows of her, then perhaps we're better off knowing why, especially if she comes knocking on my window at midnight. Spitting into the snow, our subject stands and turns his back to us. Some questions you ought not to be asking, miss. I'll be going now. Enjoy yourselves. He lumbers off into the town, though I don't watch him for very long. Questions we ought not to be asking, huh? I'm not sure if that's a threat or not. For the sake of my anxiety, I'll try to tell myself it's not. I join Tara on the bench, doing my best to avoid the puddles of melted snow. That was something. That's putting it nicely. I don't know what that was either. Maybe Tara's right. It was something. You get it all? She taps 2 fingers against the camera in my hand. Of course. All 2 uncomfortable minutes. I wasn't given a lot to work with there. I replay the recording with Tara leaning over to watch along with me. It's not any less awkward the second time through. Well, we already knew we'd need to talk to a few different people, just got unlucky on the first one. Know what I mean? Tara stands up, but I remain seated. Still need another minute? I don't say anything, I'm trying to think of what to say. Hello, Earth to Maddie, please respond. I'm thinking. My voice is too harsh and snappy, and we both know it. I play through the clip again, this time without Tara watching. Something still seems off to me. And it's not just the gruff way he left, it's the way he looked at the camera the entire fucking time, right? That was the weird part to me. Look, we knew Morgan was a bit weird. All of our fans are weird, that's why there are fans. In a tiny little town like this, of course anyone who's different is gonna have a reputation. Doesn't make Morgan a bad person. Well, let me tell you about the time I was sleeping and she knocked on my window in the middle of the night. Not saying she's a bad person, I didn't say anything. But, if you had to ask, I'm sitting here thinking that it's really freaking shady that that guy just guessed we were here with Morgan, and then that he up and left as soon as he found out. That's not normal. That's not something that's happened to us before. Great, that means we're on the right track. If they're hiding something, then that means there's something to hide. Have you completely lost your mind? We're gonna get fucking murdered out here. It's ridiculous, even for Tara. I can understand her wanting to give Morgan a chance, but to actually buy into her nonsense. Tara nods and looks down at her feet, brushing some snow off her shoes. It's only been a couple hours, Mads. He's just one old cranky geezer. Please just try to have some patience on this one, okay? For me? I check my watch. It hasn't even been 2 hours. That only makes her more right, as much as I hate to admit it. Sighing, I place my head in my hands. Sorry, I'm still tired. It's okay. After a long moment, I stand. Wanna find somebody else? Guess we oughta. We traipse wordlessly through the town a bit more. I keep the camera stowed. I'll set up when we find someone. Now that we've been burned once, I start to understand why Tara is so reluctant to speak to anyone. What once seemed like people tightening their clothes against the cold now seems more like turning their shoulders toward us. A suspicious number of folks look away from us to cough. The amount of times we pass by the same places certainly doesn't help our appearance. By now, there are a few especially chatty villagers that have seen us pass by at least 4 times. It takes another 15 minutes of looping around town before we find another candidate. pair of girls about our age are waiting outside a shop. Inside, a third girl is talking to the shopkeeper. People our age are going to be our best bet. One of the waiting girls sips from a small mug of what I assume is coffee. She sees us and nods her head in greeting. It's the nicest reception we've gotten so far. What about them? Worth a try. This time I approach with Tara. I let her take the lead, but I follow close behind, forcing myself to smile in order to seem more approachable. Excuse me. The talking girl and the shopkeeper turn toward us at the same time. Their conversation snaps off immediately. Excuse me. Hey there. Hello. The girl next to her leans in to whisper something in her friend's ear, but doesn't talk to us. Hey, so my friend and I are here from out of town. We know. They both giggle to themselves. We're filming a documentary sort of thing about Eisenfeld, and I was wondering if I could ask you some questions. Eisenfeld? Why here? What about it? Well, we're doing a video about any sort of rumors or local legends that you might have out here. Ghost stories, that kind of thing. The two girls talk to each other in low voices that I can't pick up. The quieter girl is muttering something, and the girl with coffee is agreeing and nodding along. As one, they turn to face us again. I don't think there's anything like that out here. This isn't that kind of place. Not one? When you were kids, your parents didn't tell you stories about things that lived in the forest? You've never been out late at night and seen something you can't explain? We're not allowed out late at night. Right, there's a curfew. The girls go quiet, nodding to themselves. Sensing a dead end, Tara changes her tactics. Do either of you know a girl named Morgan? She's the mayor's daughter. Oh, throwing Morgan way under the bus. The first girl, the one with the coffee, grins at that and pulls her companion's arm. The other girl swats her away, face turning pink. Oh, I'm pretty sure everyone knows her. She smiles devilishly at her embarrassed friend. Some of us better than others. Uh-oh! Oh boy, does Morgan get around? What's she like? Why is she so famous? Because she's a whore. No. She isn't that bad, she's trouble and you know it. Staying out after hours, sneaking around town, she spends a lot of time out in the woods, too. Sometimes overnight. What do you think she's doing out there? Murdering people? If there's a particular conclusion we're supposed to have reached, it's lost on me. Still, it can't be coincidence that we're 2 for 2 now on people being weirded out by Morgan. 3 for 3 if I count myself. Do you think there's something out there? The two girls blink as if their reaction was planned. Something like what? Tara shrugs. No idea, like I said, that's what we're researching. I don't think you'll find anything like that here. I'm sorry, but this isn't a very interesting place. Right. I stride away, leaving her behind. I head into a corner between 2 buildings, out of sight of the girls we spoke to. Tara catches up and then leans against the wall next to me. That didn't go much better. Really, you think? Was it just a coincidence that these 2 other random people we met happened to have the same opinion of Morgan as the first? She didn't tell her mom, the mayor of the town, that we're going to be staying in a cabin that her mother probably owns. For a month. She rambles off stuff that makes any one of our videos sound like an episode of Scooby-Doo, and then the next morning just dumps us in the middle of the village. We haven't even been here for a day yet. We've seen our host like an hour tops, and we were practically asleep for most of that. How am I supposed to have a good opinion of her so far? Well, yeah, she's gotta work. Come on, Mads, have a little faith. What's the worst that can happen? We could get fucking murdered! The lead turns out to be nothing like the other 200 times before. Some girls gossip about us, and an old bum tells us to get lost. 207. And the worst is that the whole town hates us, while we're stuck here after spending thousands of dollars to cross the world. To live in a wood cabin with no phone service and barely any internet. For a month. You've got to see the problem here, Tara. Tara sighs and throws up her hands. Okay, so what? What is it that you want me to do? We're here and you hate it. I get it. So what's the solution? What is it you're hoping for here? Like I said before, let's just deal with it, make the best of it we can, and try to have some fun. That was the whole point of this thing. It was supposed to be fun. She's trying to encourage me. She's doing a terrible job of it. Whatever, let's just get this over with. And this time, don't mention Morgan. If nobody here likes her, then you're probably better off not bringing her up. I can see that she wants to say something, probably argue, but then she deflates and nods. Okay. No Morgan. She goes quiet for a moment, staring off into the town. She takes a breath and sighs, visibly relaxing. She starts to lead the way, not looking back at me. I feel a sharp pang of guilt as I stare at her back. I did promise to try, and here I am again, making everything worse. Tara. She stops in place. Sorry, again, really. She smiles a bit sadly, but shrugs. I get it, Mads, we're cool, let's go. There's a lot more Tara-normal in our future. We exchange a small smile before continuing our march on. Eisenfeld seems to have been built so that no matter what, you're always walking uphill. We make our way up yet another one, past a low crumbling wall and a few houses. As we make our way up the street, a bitter-looking old woman with a broom stops what she's doing and eyes us. We've walked this part of the road several times now, but she wasn't here before. Uh-oh. Hey, you! Who are you? You aren't from around here. Last part is definitely a statement, not a question. Tara slows down just a bit to mutter beside me. Looks like we found number 3. Tara immediately puts on a friendlier face as we approach. Good morning, ma'am. You're right, we're not. I'm Tara, and this is Maddie. We're here doing a research documentary on Eisenfeld. Would you mind if we asked you a couple of questions? About some of the local legends and rumors from around here. I'm actually afraid that she's going to say yes, because I can already tell this is going to end as badly as the last two. Described how to answer Tara's question of what I want. I just want to go back to the cabin and be bored. At least it's not awkward and uncomfortable in there. Yeah, alright. No. Great, thank you. So, we've been hearing a lot of stuff out in, about stuff out in the woods, like, you are? Who told you that? We've been interviewing a few people this morning, and it's something that came up a few times. Stuff like lights and strange noises, that kind of thing. Have you ever witnessed anything like that? Never! She looks around again, then steps just a little bit closer to us. Look, I'm gonna tell you this now for your own good. Stop asking fucking questions. No one around here wants any trouble, they all just want to live our lives in peace. That's what Eisenfeld's all about. Mayor Fisher does a damn good job keeping things nice and orderly around here. Uh-oh, this is a town with a secret. This is Night in the Woods, isn't it? There's a hole in the center of everything with a black goat in it. I bet you. We keep to ourselves, and I'd expect the two of you to do the same. She nods solemnly, the interview clearly over. Just as useless as the other two. As we go, Tara waves over her shoulder. Thanks for your time! And then, so only I can hear her. Bitch! As we walk away, I can tell it's not necessary to say anything to Tara. She trudges along beside me. Annoyed as I am, I still feel bad seeing her so bummed out. Maybe it's finally starting to sink in. So now what? She asked me that after the second interview, too. Now, I don't know. Let's go to Morgan's shop and eat lunch. Wait, for real? You want to go see Morgan? Mostly I want to go see what Morgan makes for lunch. I'll take it. But hey, can you, like... I'll be cool, don't worry. She smiles, relieved. Yeah, I know, sorry, I know you will. Take out the map that Morgan gave us this morning. By now, I've been through the village enough times that I can mostly navigate there by memory. What kind of shop does Morgan run, do you remember? I think she said it's an antique shop. What do those places even sell? Antiques. Antiques. Lots of furniture that's been around for decades, or random stuff like old books and glassware. That's oddly specific. My mom's into antiquing. She always says you never know what you'll find. We should do an antique episode of Paranormal sometime. Oh, fuck, that's right, you're a bitch and you're quitting. You can have your mom on as a guest star. I'm sure she'd love that. Do you think Morgan sells anything really out there, like a possessed baby doll or a cursed sword? Who would want to buy those kind of things? The same people who go to Ren fairs. She got me. I can't help but laugh. Tara grins, enjoying the feedback. Come on, Mads. Every good horror story starts out with buying something fishy from the local antique store. Maybe she has a special section for items with an ancient prophecy around them. You know, you never find magic in the franchise stores. Never just go to, like, a Barnes & Noble and find a magic book. It's always the creepy, shady antique shop in the corner of the strip mall. We're specifically trying to avoid the horror story scenarios, remember? Alright, yeah. Yeah, I guess that would suck to live through. Okay. What if she lets us interview her talking cat instead? That's like a whole episode's worth right there. The internet loves cat videos. That one could go viral. That's what I'm saying. We should prep a list of questions before we get there, so we know what to say. Ask it which brand of cat food tastes best. We can sell the video rights to that company. Come on, I'm serious. Wait, what? What? You seriously think that cat is gonna talk? Tara shrugs, looking like she never questioned the idea. I'm just trying to be prepared. Well. I thought she had gotten the picture after the last interview went awry, but it seems like she's still giving Morgan some benefit of the doubt. It's not even worth arguing with her over. She'll see soon enough as it is. I check over Morgan's map again. We're definitely in the area, since it says her shop is right by City Hall. Problem is, while her map shows how to get to the general area of her shop, it doesn't say which building it is. And there are several buildings that could fit, so we have to awkwardly go in and then just turn around and leave. Sounds good. You think this is the place? Has to be. Tara's stomach growls loudly, and her voice was more like a plea than an affirmation. Go check. What? Check what? Like, go check if it's her place or not. Absolutely not. I'm not going to just potentially walk into someone's home. What's the big deal? If it's not her place, we can just ask for directions. No way, trespassing is your thing, not mine. We go back and forth like this for a while, and right before we finally decide to set it with a rock, paper, scissors, Morgan herself pokes her head out the door. Hey, you two. I'm in here. For the first time since she met us at the station, I'm genuinely relieved to see Morgan. Morgan holds the door open, a book under her arm, and a cup of coffee in her free hand. Tara turns to me and talks in a quiet voice. Ready to uncover some ancient treasures? Lead on, Indiana. She doesn't need telling twice. Tara practically dashes the rest of the way inside, nearly bumping into Morgan as she goes. I nod stiffly at her as I enter more slowly. The door slams shut behind us. Morgan This is gonna be fine. Morgan flips the sign on her door to closed, although it's nearly invisible from the outside. Oh, geez, this looks like the place we're gonna die. Oh, boy. Her shop looks just about how I expected. Piles of junk are strewn across chipped shelves. Many items aren't displayed so much as they appear to have been tossed and then forgotten. A thick layer of dust covers everything. Tara is already bobbing around the store examining some worryingly fragile ceramics. Morgan passes by her and back to the front counter where she sets down the book she was carrying. Its title catches my eye, Complete Collection of Classic Fairy Tales. The book looks extremely old. I wonder if it's an item for sale here. So, are you done looking around town? If she has any guess what kind of response we got today, she doesn't show it. She's still impossible to read. This music is really good. I've seen enough for today. Can we still take you up on that lunch offer? Sure thing. I've got something on the stove already. It's my latest customer. I mean, my latest, So, is Morgan... First of all, is Morgan real? Or is she the urban legend? Maybe she's the urban legend. Or is she, like... I don't know. I have a couple of thoughts. I'm just gonna let them simmer a little bit. I figured you'd be coming over soon. Stove? Your store has a kitchen? Yeah, I have a living space set up in the back since I sleep here most of the time. Feel free to look around. I'll be back. She disappears behind a curtain leading to another room, leaving us surrounded by treasures. When the whole town feels like an antique, a rocking chair and a few pieces of farming equipment probably aren't the biggest draws. I'm surprised she's even able to keep the place open. Tara's enthusiasm doesn't seem to have dimmed a bit, however. She takes time to examine each piece, turning it over in her hands like she's appraising fine art. At least one of these is probably cursed. Oh yeah, definitely. It's probably the grandfather clock over there. No way, that's too easy. And even if it is cursed, it's probably something lame, like making your toe hair grow twice as fast, but this, well... Tara takes an item off the counter, holding it close to her chest. It's a lamp. But the stand is 3 very realistic pigs standing on top of each other. The lampshade has these little piggies printed on it like a scripture. This is the big leagues. You want a curse that's gonna last for generations, use this bad boy. Hey, you think Morgan would mind if I brought my Ouija board in here? God. As she says that, she puts the pig lamp back in its rightful place, where it can't hurt anyone. Wonder how that works, actually. Like, if you bring 2 cursed objects to the same place, do the evil spirits get into a turf war? Oh god. Or do they team up to defeat humanity? Did you seriously bring the Ouija board again? Hey, that Ouija board has been on every single trip with us. Besides, it fits in my suitcase. Pick up a small ornament from a shelf nearby. It's a snake made out of crystal. No price tag attached, if you have to ask. Morgan pulls back the curtain she went through. Okay, food's ready. She comes out carrying an enormous tray that's probably also an item for sale here. On the tray are steaming bowls of some kind of soup, as well as a pitcher of water and a loaf of bread. Oh boy. Is that customer soup? She sets the tray down on the counter, doling out portions to each of us. Hesitantly, I try a spoonful of soup. It's delicious. It has a rich and meaty flavor, but isn't too heavy. And it's hot, but not too hot to gulp down. I dip some of the bread into the broth. That's delicious too. Everything here is definitely homemade. This is really, really good. What's the secret ingredient? Yeah, this is amazing. Thanks, let me know if you want more. Morgan stolidly keeps eating, the praise barely seeming to register on her. It's a shame, that's probably the one nice thing I'll have to say to her all trip. Oh god. Once she's finished, Morgan picks up her book and starts to read again, while Tara and I are still in the middle of eating. I glance over at Tara, who is very intently staring at her spoon. She finishes her bowl and rattles the spoon around a bit. Can I take you up on that refill? Of course. Without looking up, Morgan picks up both her book and her bowl and heads into the back again. She emerges a moment later with a fresh serving of soup, which she wordlessly sets down in front of Tara. Only after we've both taken our last bites does she finally close the book again. All done? Yeah, thanks. I'm done too, thank you. Let me get these out of the way then. She hauls away the dirty dishes before rejoining us at the counter. So what are your plans for the rest of the day? Fancy becoming soup? I fight back the urge to tell her that she should be the one making plans for us and showing us around. At least this way I can go back to the cabin sooner. We're still figuring that out. We hadn't gotten to see you much, so we decided to come over. Oh, right. I'm sorry about that. I'll take a couple days off starting tomorrow. You sure? We don't want you to miss out on any business or anything. There aren't that many customers who come through. You're the first ones all week, and you don't even count. I guess it wasn't customer soup. Maybe. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to react to that, so I don't say anything. That's too bad. You've got a lot of cool stuff. I was looking around some while you cooked. I wouldn't get too excited. I just make up interesting stories for the items so they sound more entertaining. It helps pass the time. Right. Morgan says it so casually that there's no way she knows just how relieved I am to hear that. Lines up neatly with what I already suspected, that everything Morgan included in her email is even more made up than usual, and that it is all a colossal waste of time. Most likely she's a fan of the show who wanted to trick us into coming out here, and we fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. If Tara has realized any of this, she of course doesn't say anything, but judging by the way her enthusiasm vanished, it seems like she's starting to get it, again. Fiddling with some silver knickknack, she looks up from the counter to Morgan. So, can we see the talking cat? As soon as Tara asks, I can see Morgan's eyes light up with interest. Her hand slides away from the book she'd been about to open. Oh no. Of course, I'm sure she'll be happy to finally meet you. Her voice wavers just the smallest bit, with what sounds like excitement. It's the first shred of emotion I've detected from her since stepping off the train. I'll go get her, just give me 1 minute. She's gonna come out with a stuffed cat. Or a puppet, or some kind of, oh god, I don't even know. Morgan exits once more, but this time through an actual door instead of a curtain. We probably could have gotten out of here without seeing the cat, you know. Why would I want to do that? This is the pièce de résistance. She doesn't even try. The piece de resistance. She doesn't even try to pronounce it right. Are you serious still? You know it's not gonna actually talk, right? Can't fathom how there's even a trace of belief rattling around in Tara's skull. Did you see her face? She's definitely not joking, unless she's just really bad at telling jokes. That would be the most normal thing about her so far. She just told you flat out that she makes up stories and tries to get other people to believe her. How can you not see that we are getting scammed too? Come on, Mads, try to have at least a little bit of faith. The door opens once more and out strides Morgan. There's also the soft sound of little kitty feet on the hard wooden floor. Well, guys, I think this is a really good place to go ahead and end off the episode. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. And make sure that you are subscribed for more Heart of the Woods. Next time, we're going to find out if this kitty cat talks. We're just going to leave it here on a cliffhanger. We'll go ahead and save to this empty slot. So yes, we're going to find out if this cat talks, and maybe we'll find out what the hell's going on with Morgan in her shop, but I have a feeling that's going to be a longer-term kind of thing. So, this is getting really, really interesting. I really love the characters. I love the characters. The setup is really good. And I don't know to what degree this is supposed to be a mysterious slash horror slash kind of story. I know it's very specifically meant to be a Yuri romance, but there is definitely paranormal and mystery and horror. I don't know the degree to which. I don't know if it's going to be jump scares. I don't think it is. I don't think it's going to get really like serial killer-y, but you never know. And I'm very interested to find out how far into that we actually managed to go. So I hope you're excited for the next episode. I know I am. I will see you then. Goodbye.